One night, your soon-to-be parents decided to screw, but this time with a little bit of purpose behind it, and so you were born. Your parents were hardworking and loving, at least as much as they could be. They taught you how to walk, how to not shit yourself, and they put up with your BS until you developed at least some survival instincts. Soon, you started thinking and asking a lot of questions. Why is the sky blue? How are babies born? All that jazz. One day, when you learned of the word life, a question sparked in your tiny little toddler mind. So you went to your father, the best source of information you had at the time, and asked him, Dad, when does life begin? Your father was perplexed, and he didn't have a good answer, but didn't want to turn down your curiosity. So he said, Your life has just begun, child, but you will truly live when you have achieved your dreams and you can provide for your family and loved ones. That's when all your hard work will pay off. That's when life truly begins. You were only considering your father's response when another brilliant question sparked in your mind. With the utmost innocence, you asked your father, Dad, did life begin for you? Shocked with your response, your father said nothing. You see his eyes grow distant. After a moment of silence, he says, Go play or something. I'm busy. Dissatisfied with the answer you got, you go to your mother and ask her, Mom, when does life begin? Your mother, also taken aback with your sudden inquiry, doesn't speak for a moment. She doesn't know what to answer, but decides to do so anyways. She says, Child, the most beautiful thing in life is love. Your life will truly begin when you find the person who cares about you and makes you laugh. This person will make you feel like you're the happiest in the world. Love makes life beautiful. That's when life begins. With great innocence, you ask once again, Mom, did life begin for you? Your mother was satisfied with the answer she gave you, but now had a sad look on her face. In silence, it seems that she's looking at something that you can't. You wonder if there's something on the wall that you can't see. She breaks the silence by answering, It's getting late now. Let's get you ready for bed. Soon you grow up and attend school, then you grow up some more. In what feels like a blink, you are now attending high school. You learn a lot about yourself in high school. You make friends, make some enemies. You learn to hate a few parts about yourself. But overall, you have fun. One day while sitting by yourself, bored out of your mind, the question comes back. Remember that you never got an answer that satisfied you. A particular friend of yours always felt very mature to you. He was calm and hardworking. You learned a lot by watching him, so you decide to ask him the question. As he enters the class and comes to sit next to you, you ask him, Hey, when do you think life begins? I think it's different for everyone, he says. For me, life will begin when I can be the best father I can be. When I can become a better father to my children than my father was to me. Once I can make that come true, that's when life will begin. You were impressed by his selflessness. For a moment, you thought that maybe he was right, but that answer didn't seem to please you. Soon, high school was over and you decided to go to college, studying something that wasn't exciting to you, but it could pay you well. One day, your friends introduced you to a girl. She was pretty and fun to be around. You guys hit it off and started dating. The feeling was overwhelming, but it was great. Life seemed to glow with beauty and you enjoyed everything a lot more. You were glad to have someone by your side who cared for you and whom you cared for too. You think maybe mom was right all along. College was fun, but soon it came to an end. You and your girlfriend decided to move in together because why not? You both got the jobs that you were hoping for and everything felt perfect. Both of you spent the next few years going to your job and climbing the corporate ladder. Every day was the same. You'd wake up, talk a bit, then get stuck in traffic, go to your job, finish your work, get stuck in traffic again. Back home, you'd watch a show together, screw, and then go to sleep. Things started to feel mundane. You didn't feel the butterflies anymore, and even the screwing felt like it was a chore to her. You began to feel empty, and then the question intensified. You thought to yourself, maybe mom was wrong after all. I've never felt more loved ever, and life is good, but I don't feel like I'm truly living. But if so, then when does life begin? Before you knew it, both of you got married and then bought a house. Then you realized that buying a house is way too fucking expensive, so you work for a few years and then buy a house. You feel accomplished and it feels like you've finally done everything. You finally achieved your goals. You feel good, but that feeling goes away quickly. The feeling of emptiness grows even more. You think to yourself, Dad has to be wrong about this. I've worked hard and achieved my goals. I've enough to provide for my loved ones, but life doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel worth it. You end your thinking with the same question. When does life begin? You grow older, and one night you and your wife decide to screw, but with some purpose. 9 months later, you have your first child. Life seems to radiate with so much energy again. Your mind gets filled with the thought of protecting your child and becoming the best father you can be. Taking care of that child is a hassle, but it's worth for the both of you. It feels as if a bright new spirit has rejuvenated your life with so much positive energy. You think to yourself, maybe my friend was right all along. The most fulfilling thing I could do is be a good father. I feel truly alive. Soon the baby grows into a toddler, the toddler reaches adolescence, the teen goes through the rebellious phase, and it's tough at times, but for you it's worth it. The teen turns into an adult and soon moves out. You talk with your kid a lot less now. As they're busy building their own life, they rarely come home. The feeling of emptiness grows even more. Life becomes mundane again, and while you have a good time here and there, you feel empty. Fuck it, you decide one day, you let your wife and kids know that you'll be gone for a while. Take a leave from your job, take the first plane ticket you can find to anywhere but here, and travel outside of the country to find answers. You travel to places you've always wanted to visit and talk to people everywhere. You make a point to not ask a monk or a guru for answers. Instead, you intend to find a regular person who seems to be truly living. You travel around to different cities and different countries, talk to people of different cultures who speak different languages. You find a few people who seem to be truly living, but on further examination, you realize they're just as miserable as you. You travel far and wide, a few months pass, your family was pressuring you to come back, you could lose your job, you knew you couldn't do this forever. One day in some country, in some town, someone caught your eye. On the surface, he looked like a normal young kid, maybe 19 or 20 years old, average height, average build. But you couldn't shake the feeling that there was something different about him. He had a warm, genuine smile on his face, even when there was nothing to smile about. He seemed to brighten the mood of every person that passed him by. You knew that this probably meant nothing, but you decided to give it a shot anyways. You offered to buy him coffee and sat down in a nearby cafe. He thanked you for your kind gesture and asked you why was it that you wanted to talk to him. You replied that you were a traveler and wanted to meet people of all cultures. You asked him of his past and his country and his culture. As he talked, his words were backed with excitement and passion. As he was talking, you forced yourself to ask the question, maybe one last time. When does life begin? You asked. He stopped what he was saying and looked at you a little confused. He didn't say a word. You could see from his expression that he was trying to think before giving you an answer. A minute or two passed. Your excitement was only beginning to die down when he replied with a smile as bright as ever. Whenever you want. Left speechless, all you could do was ponder the young man's word. You looked back through your entire life and suddenly it all made sense. You never gave yourself the permission to live. You realized that it wasn't the act of achieving or acquiring that would make you happy. It was the acceptance of life as it was that would fill you with joy. If you realized that life was never incomplete, then you would have seen its true beauty. Instead of finding what made life complete, you realized that life was always complete. It was there for anyone to live if only they allowed themselves to. You thanked the young man and paid for both of your drinks. You took the first flight back home, living not happily ever after, but just living.